Now it's coffee time. We want to bring you the virtual smell of a great Colombian coffee. And today is with us Daniel Velasquez from the company Amativo. He's going to show us how to prepare a great coffee while we chat a bit about their coffee, their connections to the world, and what they make part of the coffee cluster in Medellin. Hola, Daniel. How are you doing?
Hello,
Thank you for being with
Patricia.
us today.
Thank
Hello.
you for having me here.
We are
So,
eager to learn how to make a good coffee here.
I hope so. So, as you said, we're gonna prepare a virtual coffee. I hope you all could be here to smell this magnificent coffee and to drink it. But okay, let's try to imagine how it's gonna taste. So yes, as you said, my name is Daniel Velasquez. I'm the director of Amativo Colombia. Amativo is a startup. We only have 5 years, but we are already set in Colombia, in China, and in South Korea. So we try to have a very complex logistics operation to get more value out of the value chain for obviously our company, but also for our suppliers, which in this case are the coffee growers. We're part of the coffee cluster, Medellin coffee cluster, and it's very exciting because this cluster is also very new, but we're doing a lot of stuff in this. So I'm going to start preparing the coffee, and then I'm going to just chat about how to prepare a good coffee, and then I'm going to talk about also the cluster, the Medellin coffee cluster. So the first thing to prepare a good coffee is obviously having good coffee. So no matter what you do, you could have the most expensive equipment, but if you don't have a good coffee, then it's gonna be hard to prepare coffee, or at least a good one. So this is a geisha. The variety is called geisha. It's a coffee from Antioquia. And I'm going to prepare it, going to do 100. This is a Hario B60 100. I'm going to prepare the coffee here. So the most important thing when you're preparing coffee is grinding. For this kind of method, you should use coarse grinding, not too coarse, but coarse. You should also use a weight. It's very important to control the ratio of water and coffee, because if you don't do that, then sometimes it's gonna be really heavy and some other times it's gonna be really light. So you always want to have consistency. In my case, I use 15 milliliters of water per 1 gram of coffee. That's my recipe, but you can play with it. So we're gonna start preparing our coffee. Uh, so you weigh the coffee. Right here I have 20 grams. And then you also need hot water, but try to make it not boiling water. At least in Colombia, in Medellin, because of our altitude, the perfect temperature is 90 degrees Celsius. And I'm preparing my hot water here. Yeah, so I have it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour, since I put 20 grams here, I'm gonna pour 300 milliliters of water, and I'm going to do it really slow. So first, what I do here is a pre-infusion to allow the whole mass of coffee to get wet, like have a consistent extraction. And then I start. I hope you could see this because the mass of coffee starts blooming and the smell is amazing. So I'm going to do this and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the coffee cluster. Okay, perfect. So now I'm gonna wait here until the whole extraction is completed. One last thing about preparing coffee is the concept of extraction. So if you're grinding, as I said at the beginning, if your grinding is too fine, then the water is going to have more contact with all the coffee, and there's going to be way more extraction, and that's going to make the coffee bitter and heavy. But if the grinding size is too coarse, then there's not going to be enough extraction, and that's going to make the coffee very light. So that's it. Basically, the whole principles of coffee preparation. There's way more to it, but at least I hope with this instruction, you're capable of preparing good coffee or at your home. And now, well, this coffee is ready. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the coffee cluster and why it has been so important for us here in the region, especially in Antioquia, where we are located. Um, so coffee for us in Colombia, it's been a tradition that we now have for generations. But the way we have worked as private companies has always been like everyone has been doing its own thing, like separately. And this obviously brings some issues because it's pretty hard to uh, create economies of scale. It's pretty hard to have the power of negotiation as a group to push the governments or the public entities to have policies that impact the coffee business in a positive way. So now that we have the coffee cluster, it's very amazing what has happened in the past few years. So we have several committees in the coffee cluster. One committee is knowledge transfer, another committee is sustainability. I'm actually the leader of that committee. Another committee is internationalization. Another committee is trade. So it's been amazing because now the cluster has over 200 members. Now everybody knows each other. So a few years ago, if you wanted to do something, if you wanted to find a supplier for roasting your coffee, it was pretty hard to do that because nobody knew each other. And now everybody's kind of working together, and now everybody knows who are the best suppliers. And now we are actually, as a cluster, making deals with suppliers to get better prices at packaging, get better prices at shipping. And as I said, so we have all these committees, but we have two goals mainly. First goal is, so our main problem here is that people here at Origin, they don't receive enough money for coffee. So if you go further in the chain, you see, for example, I don't know, just to give an example, Starbucks, they make a lot of money, but here there's not a lot of money. So we have that problem. We have that difficulty of capturing value. So our first goal as cluster is, okay, we need to capture more value. So we're going to try to make our coffee different. So we have a history of producing commodity. Let's try to make it different. And now we're producing specialty coffee, and we are giving knowledge to all the producers and to produce specialty coffee and to launch this coffee into the market. So that's one, get more value out of our product. Second one is, believe it or not, people here in Colombia, they don't drink good coffee. Actually, people here in Colombia drink terrible coffee, and that's because the good coffee gets exported and the bad coffee stays here. So what we're trying to do is make people aware of this situation and drink their own coffee, drink the coffee we produce and we're proud of, and just make the internal market be bigger. And with that, we hope that also creates tension with the international prices. So these are our own main goals. We also want to sophisticate our processes and our products. And for that, well, we have all these committees. So Patricia, I don't know if you want to add something on behalf of everybody while I serve this amazing coffee. Mm, delicious. And now, just I know I have little time, so to finish, I know you've been talking about COVID-19 and how COVID has created such an impact in every country, every economy. We have had that as well. We have suffered that. But having a cluster has been amazing because what happened was, for example, all the coffee shops that we have in town, all the roasted coffee brands that we have in town. So at the beginning, obviously, everything got closed and nobody was able to open their businesses and attend to customers. So all these companies were really suffering. And in Colombia, we don't have this culture of e-commerce, so nobody is actually used to ordering coffee on the internet, on social media. And so it was really hard, but the cluster was this platform that first we hire we hire experts in e-commerce, digital marketing to explain all the companies how they should move their business to the internet in order to survive. And then we launch as a cluster several marketing campaigns to incentivize the consumption of coffee and to incentivize the buying of this coffee online and in social media. So what happened is really amazing because if it were not for the cluster, I'm pretty sure each company will be suffering on its own without knowing what to do. But now, thanks to the cluster, so they're all working as a group, and now they're all selling their coffee online and in social media, and now they're selling more coffee than they used to sell before the COVID pandemic. So that's it. That's my all that I wanted to tell you. I hope you enjoyed this moment. I hope you had a coffee on your own. So thank you very much for
Excellent.
having me.
So nice. Thank you very much, Daniel. This was really, really good. And we can leave you the floor for hours, but we have to move forward. Thank you
Yeah, I
for
know.
sending this piece of Colombian of your coffee to us. Thank you
Okay,
very
thank you,
much.
Patricia. Take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.